Want to record a little rant about relationships. I don't know how long this is going to be. You're going to know, but I don't know yet. Um, I just made an Instagram video about this, and I just want to talk about people getting into relationships at a young age because I personally think that it's a waste of time, and let me tell you why. Because I think that if you haven't developed yourself first, and if you haven't worked on yourself and solved your own, I guess, major issues like things like procrastination, laziness, addiction, whatever it may be for you, if you haven't solved those things yet and you don't have a good relationship with yourself, then how can you have a good loving relationship with someone else? Like, if you don't know yourself first, how can you know the type of person that is complementary to you? Because that's what a relationship should be. Like, there should be things that you have in common and things that are complementary. Like, you may be good at one thing, they're good at something else that you're not so good at, and all these things, so that you can help each other and work on things together. But um, now, with that being said, some of you may be thinking, like, oh, well, you just said that, like, help each other. So, like, if you're going through things like laziness and addiction or whatever, then you can just help each other. Well, I personally think that that is things that overall you should work on yourself. Like laziness, you're not going to get your partner to be the main person to help you with laziness. That's something that you need to figure out yourself first. That I think. Unless, like, some people, they get into a relationship and then, like, they realize that they have all these negative things about them, and then you try to work through them. But I think I think the right perspective to come from, in my personal opinion, is work on yourself first until you're confident, until you have like high self-esteem and you're comfortable being alone. I use the example in my Instagram post. If you can't sit alone in a room for an hour to just think to yourself and talk to yourself, then you should not be in a relationship with somebody else, because you need to have a relationship with yourself first. And I think I've sort of established that. And I think that a lot of people at a young age don't have a relationship with themselves, especially these days where you don't have so much time to yourself to just like lay in bed or sit down in your room and just zone everything out and just think. Everything's on your phone. Like, any spare time you have, you're going on Instagram and something else is entertaining you. You're not having time to calm down yourself and talk to yourself and get to know yourself. And part of it has to do with, like, we live in such a fast world with all this technology and instant media and all this blah blah blah. And it's difficult to find peace of mind, but I think it is very necessary to do so, because that's how, like I said, that's how you develop the relationship with yourself. And then once you have all that stuff, once you have good habits in your own life built, like, once you do things consistently, once you do things like work out, eat healthy, drink lots of water, you're like, you overcome your procrastination or your laziness or your addiction and all this stuff. These are things that you work on yourself. Obviously, people can help you with it, but I personally think predominantly you work with yourself. At least in my case, there may be other people that like struggle with like addiction or something that they need help from other people, and that's good. That's good that you're getting other people to help you. But overall, I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, issues in life that aren't necessary to drag somebody else into to help you fix, things that you should just fix yourself, and stop being, sorry to be harsh, but stop being a little like whiny baby about your laziness and being like, oh, I'm tired and all this stuff. Figure it out yourself. Like, all of us, we need to figure out our own stuff in our lives, and I'm doing the same thing, and I struggle with my own things as well as you. Every single one of us, we have our own negative things that we're bad at, and that we whine and cry and, oh, I need this, nah, nah, nah. Like, I do the same thing too in certain areas. Um, but I think and that's why I'm not in a relationship yet, is because I haven't figured out my own life yet. And this is going to be a bit of a rant, so but I think it's going to be very valuable for you to listen to. I think what this stems from, my perspective of having all my stuff figured out before getting into a relationship, is because since I'm a dude and I try to be a pretty masculine dude, um, I want to have my stuff together before I get into a relationship with a girl, because I want to be able to like be the provider predominantly. Now, if like I'm obviously for women working or whatever, but like I don't know. I think some people therefore strictly 50-50, and like um it's okay for like the woman to make more, and sure, whatever you want, it's up to you, you're in the relationship. I personally, uh in a relationship, I want to embrace masculine characteristics, and if there's some feminine characteristics that I embrace and some masculine that she embraces, great. But overall, like I want to be the strong alpha male dude, the provider, I guess you could say, uh, traditional husband in the future. Sorry, I'm leaking out my interests and all this stuff, but I don't care, because I think this is valuable for people to know about. And so, um, yeah, now that I mentioned that, you may be able to uh, piece together that I am going to try to wait till marriage to do, you know, most, eh, most stuff. The big stuff, obviously. The goal is to wait till marriage. Um, that is a personal uh, decision from talking to other people, as well as um, like my religious background and my core values and beliefs and stuff. And so that is why I have the perspective of these like teenage relationships being a waste of time for the most part, is because I don't see anything long term in getting with someone when you're 16, so that you can lose your virginity to them and then move on and see how many kills you can get when you're like 16, 17, 18, going into college and all this stuff. I don't see any value in that, other than destroying yourself psychologically and emotionally. Whether you realize it or not, it's going to happen if you keep torturing yourself, because things like sex and relationships, they're physical, they're emotional, they're spiritual, psychological, chemical, all this stuff. And if you just abuse the good parts, and you take advantage of people, or like you both agree that, subconsciously, like you don't say it, but like you both are just in it because you want something, you want like pleasure from the other person, and that's it. I think that is really shallow and a waste of time. If you're doing that right now, like I don't know what to tell you. I think you just think about it. You may not agree with me. That's okay. I'm not trying to like be judgmental or whatever, because I know that I could be in that place too, if I wasn't like raised the way I was raised, and if I didn't talk to certain people about these topics and didn't learn certain things. So I understand both perspectives completely. I understand why you want to do that and where it stems from. And I've had times where that is the thought running through my head, but then I always need to try to go back to my core values, because if I don't, then I'm not going to feel truly happy and fulfilled. Because if you believe stuff and then you don't do it, then you're just going to feel like, okay, well, then I'm just a hypocrite, and like, what's fine? And I still am in certain areas, and I'm obviously admitting this because it's the truth. So that's why I'm still working on myself now, and hopefully get some stuff figured out for the future. This is gonna be fun to watch in the future. But so far, I think this has been a good video. It's under 10 minutes, or just over 10 minutes now. But yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about for now. Just, I think, work on yourself. If you're at a young age, use this time. You have so much time. Use this time to develop yourself. Don't waste it getting into a relationship just because you guys have a void to fill that you haven't filled by working on yourself. And so you try to fill it by, getting with another person, seeking validation because it feels good to have somebody love you because you don't love yourself. Like, I know right now it feels good, but guys, it's not going to feel good long term. If you keep doing this and keep getting it, you're just covering up the root cause. Just sit in your room alone for an hour and talk to yourself. Turn your phone off, put it in a different room. Don't let yourself get distracted. Just talk to yourself and figure some stuff out in your brain. Try not to fall asleep, because I know I usually do when I try to do this stuff. But just think to yourself, what, I have this problem. Okay, why do I have this problem? What does it come from? Is it from this thing that happened in my childhood? Okay, it's from this thing that happened in my childhood. I can remember this, okay? So I let that affect me because this. And now, how can I fix that? Okay, well, this person did it to me. I need to talk to them about it. Or I need to forgive them, or this, or that. And just fine. Everyone has their little underlying things. Most problems in people's lives stem from things that happen in their childhood. I was fortunate enough to have a pretty good childhood, raised by my grandma and grandpa for the first 3 years of my life because my mom couldn't take care of me. And I also have a big family. And we all have our own issues, just as everyone else does. And I'm sick and tired of people covering it up on social media, trying to make themselves look absolutely amazing. And that's one of the reasons why, if you look at some of the thumbnails or whatever they're called for my Instagram videos, you'll see that I do not look the greatest in all of the thumbnails. And part of that reason is to just show you that I'm not perfect, and I have days and moments, and obviously that I look like garbage, and I feel like garbage too. And I just want to show you that that is the reality. Everyone else on Instagram is only posting their highlight reel, all their best stuff. Look at me in some of the things on my Instagram. And by the way, if you don't know my Instagram, it's Christopher_M_41. Play that back if you didn't hear it right. And just look at just look at how I look at some of those pictures. It's pretty hilarious. So I think I tackled everything I wanted to tackle in this video. I think this was a good video. I hope that you found value with it. Share it with people if you are in a relationship right now and you're like 15, 16, 17, whatever, still in school, and you don't feel like you fully develop yourself. If you're in a relationship right now, and show this to whoever you're in a relationship with, talk about it. If you can't have a conversation with the person that you're in the relationship with about your relationship, then why are you in the relationship? That's not trying to be rude, but seriously, people do things in their relationships at a young age that they wouldn't even be able to talk to each other about. If you can't talk to the person that you're with about sex or something like that, then why are you getting super sexual at such a young age? I personally believe that you shouldn't be getting into that stuff until you're married. That's what my religious belief and core values are. But obviously, clearly, not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay. It's up to you. But seriously, have a reason for why you think what you think, and try to find the truth. It's okay if the truth is different from what you believe right now. Just try to find what you should do, because the worst thing would be to do something now and then you regret it later, and then you remember me talking to you in this video saying oh, why didn't I take a couple hours to look into this topic and learn about it and learn why I should or shouldn't get into a relationship at this age and all this stuff. There's so many resources out there. Go on YouTube, type in the question that you have, and there will be a bunch of answers. So this is going to conclude my video. Don't want it to be over 50 minutes, so I'm going to end it now.